All right, welcome to another episode of Nard Knows, and this is season five. God is good, has definitely blessed me along this journey. Thankful for all the guests that I've had these past couple of years, 55 episodes and counting. Thank you so much for everyone who's been able to be a part of my journey by sharing their journey. And without further ado, I'm going to bring in my star-studded guest from the University of Utah, Alaka'i Gilman, fresh off a very promising season, heading for the NFL, and also finished a very good outing in the Hula Bowl. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm grateful that I get to be here with you to talk shop, talk ball, but I'm just grateful to be on this journey and everything that all the blessings that I've received over my career in college, just trying to see where the next place takes me.
Well, let's start off where you just left, which is with the Hula Bowl in Orlando. You know, you had your guys out there, Junior Tafuna, Karina Reed, Makai Bernard, and you guys look good out there, even though you had the same helmet on, but you different jerseys. You know, what was that experience like getting involved with other guys around the nation?
It's always cool to see to come together to these senior bowls and these showcases and play on a different team with different people. You see how you mesh, you see how you might fit in an NFL scheme. We're running against a lot more NFL style offenses, so it was a little different than what you'd see in college. But being out there with the guys, Karene Jr., Makai, it was so refreshing to see again. It's like, man, these are my guys right here. And anytime I got on the field, I saw those red helmets, man. We would yell to each other or say something or throw up the U, and everyone was on the throwing up the U movement at the end of the week because we kind of got everything going. They was calling it the U boys defense. So I don't know. I had fun. I had a lot of fun.
Well, you get earned your keep at the University of Utah recently. Obviously, you started off at the University of Stanford, got your degree, did 4 years there. But let's take it to Rice Eccles Stadium, man. What are some of the things you're going to miss most about being on the hill?
Man, right cycles is electric. That's one word that comes to mind when I think about playing there. It's just electric. The vibes are high, the fans, the stadium, the people are engaged. And it's part of the reason why I decided to come to Utah. I wanted to be in that atmosphere and playing those big time games under the lights with, the stadium packed out. And I enjoyed every second of it. Running out that tunnel was such a blessing and a moment that I had to realize again every time I did, like, man, this is cool. I get to do this, and I'm so blessed that I get to.
What are some of the things that you learned about yourself? Obviously, you were a grad student when you entered the U, but what were some of the new things that the U brought to you that brought out of you and that you're going to take to the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, on the football side, you learn so much from a coach like Coach Scally, and on that defense, you can continue to grow your football knowledge wherever you go, and I think it was a good experience for me to be able to grow my IQ. And then in terms of the city and the team and the boys, like it truly is a brotherhood there, and those guys that I play out there with, and I call them my brothers for real. Just even though I was only there for a year, I wasn't even there for 4 years, but still, like the relationships you build on that field, in fall camp, in the film room, every day in the weight room, like those will last forever, and those are memories that I'll get to speak on for my whole life.
What are some of your favorite memories?
I think being out there this past year playing against the team down south was, it's a rivalry that I never really experienced. We had rivalries at Stanford and playing in the big game versus Cal, but there was something about, the that rivalry with the team down south to sort of, like, I don't know, juice up the week. There was something about it that I'm like, man, this is real. Like this is something that I love about the game. And I felt that game, I just had so much fun. I was out there, vibing and flowing and being present in the moment, which I think is important.
One of my memories, because I was at that BYU Utah game, and one of my memories that I remember most is I was running onto the field for the coin toss, and there was a number 11 sitting right there, and he had his hand over his heart. And I thought he was just chilling, but he was praying. That was you, obviously. You know, talk about your faith, man. You know, you took the time out to give God the time that he needed. And so, what does that mean to you, man? How impactful is that for you to prepare for football and off the field?
I'm so happy you asked that question because there's one of the biggest takeaways that I take away from my experience at Utah is the way my faith has grown. I feel like I've transformed into a different person from my 4 years previous in college football than this past year. I mean, for me, I look at it in a way that if my foundation isn't strong outside of football, what more can I give to football, And this past year has really helped me open my eyes to realize that I'm so much more than a football player. Like we get caught up in this thing about, oh yeah, people ask you what you do, you say I play football. And it's like that's who I am, that's my identity my whole life. Until you kind of realize that, hey, like football can fail you sometimes. Like it won't always be sunshine and rainbows. Like you're gonna go through hard stuff, and when that happens, like what are you gonna fall back on? And for me, I kind of went through some moments where I'm like, man, I need to strengthen my foundation. I need to feel like I can lean back on my Savior, lean back on my Heavenly Father, and focus on them and just let everything go because what's meant for me is meant for me, and that's God given. And I think this past year, every single week that I got the opportunity to run out there, I was first and foremost, I was blessed and healthy, and I had the God-given talents to be able to do so. So who am I to, not give that praise and not give that glory to those who put me in those positions? So I appreciate that question because that's something huge that I'm taking with me into this next part of my journey.
Hey, and that's what Narnos is big on, man. Our motto is football, just like any sports, is a vehicle that God can use to bring us closer to our purpose. And so, football for you, just like many others, have brought you a community. And what you do in that time frame that God has allowed it for you is what He's going to be able to trust you with further in your journey. And so, the sky's the limit for you, man. I can tell you that right now, just off of the anointing that I can feel off of you, man. So off the field, what are some of been the biggest inspirations? Obviously, family, coaches, but who's have stuck out for you when you needed it the most?
Yeah, like family is huge where I'm from. I come from a Polynesian, Hawaiian, native Hawaiian family, and where I'm from, like your family is everything to you. And this past year, I've obviously went through ups and downs, whatever it was, and the people that I leaned on the most were obviously my faith, but my family were so key and important in those things. Uh, my sisters that were there in Utah, they guided me along the way. They helped me with anything that I needed. My parents, obviously, everyone in my family, my older brother, we talk about issues all the time just because we it feels like our lives are parallel to each other. We kind of go through the same situations when he's in the league and I'm here in college or just finishing up in college. So I lean on them a lot. I also lean my girlfriend and she's a big part of me for sure. I attribute a lot of my success to her willingness to, love me in moments where I don't think I deserve love. It's one of those relationships that she's the greatest example of what Christ-like love looks like to me and feels like. So, gotta give a big shout out to her for sure. She's a warrior and she's an angel. But definitely that close circle of people.
Well, speaking of family, man, you have a brother in the NFL playing for the Chargers. A great season for the Chargers. They obviously didn't make it to the divisional round, but they just, finished their wild card. But he forced a fumble in that game. Talk about what it's like to have your brother Alohi Gilman as a big brother and playing the same position you play.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, the anytime you get like a role model in the league, let alone a family member and a brother, it's just so cool to see him out there and see him playing on Sundays. It's stuff we talked about and dreamed about as kids together. Like, man, we're talking to little kids like, bro, I want to play in the league. I'm gonna go play on the big stage, and I'm a little kid like looking at him like, you're my superhero, bro. Like you can go do whatever, you can do anything you want in this life. And finally seeing him there has just been such a surreal moment, for me, for my family, for all of us. But he's awesome. He mentors me a lot, gives me a lot of pointers, and is helping me on this journey as well.
You were down in Orlando for the Hula Bowl while that game was taking place. Did you get a chance to see the fumble? Did you get a chance to watch some of that?
Yeah, our hula bowl game just finished. They're busting us back to the hotel, and I'm sprinting up to my room. I turn the TV on, and it's their first drive of the game, and I'm like, oh, okay, I got here right in the perfect moment, and then boom, first play happens, and he's ripping the ball out, and I go crazy. I'm screaming, hooting, hollering inside the room, but it's also stuff that's familiar. It's We talked the night before too. Like we were FaceTime the night before. He's in his hotel, like doing a stretch routine. I'm doing my last minute notes before our game, whatever stuff we do all the time. And he's like, man, I got some opportunities for me, bro. Like there's stuff out there that I know I can make plays on. And for me, like I'm not gonna doubt him 1 second. I'm like 100%, bro. If that's how you feel, that's how your preparation led you to this moment. Like go get it because it's made for you. Like it's made for you in that moment. And it happened. And we talked after the game too. Like man, like you're vibing out there, bro. And so I did get a chance to see it, but I'm happy I did.
Awesome, man. Awesome, man. That's wonderful, bro. That's very inspiring, bro, because there's so many different players who have relatives in the league, twin brothers, you name it. So that's truly a blessing to not only have one family member in the NFL, but two, three, a handful just really leading into that legacy that you and your brother and your family have left behind for you guys to set the foundation for what you're doing now. Um, Kyle Whittingham, what is Coach Kyle Whittingham like?
Man, he's an old soul. He plays football. He coaches football the right way, how it's supposed. He's got a no nonsense mentality, no nonsense coaching philosophy. And I think it's served him well in his career. He's been very successful. And I think moving forward, they're gonna keep chugging along, keep doing what Utah football really does, and that's win games.
What are some of your most memorable plays? Obviously, as a safety, causing turnovers is a big part of that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, looking back on this past year, I had an interception in the Oklahoma State game. It was kind of same situation, kind of same, like, I don't know, it's something that I've pictured in my head and something that I just felt was coming. Everyone has that moment where it's like, man, I feel it. Like I feel the moment is coming for me. I gotta capitalize on it and make that play. So had that interception, which was really it was so fun to be in that moment. It's just when you're out there and you're like you're really feeling it and you're in that flow, like nobody can stop you. And I feel like in that moment, that's where I was.
You also caught an interception at Stanford. You picked off Shador Sanders. When as a safety, you're the last line of defense, but you're also the captain of the defense mentally at the very least. You know, what do you tap into to ensure that not only are you doing your job, which comes with preparation, but there's a lot of things that you can expect during game day, in the moment, in crunch time. What do you do to keep yourself in the moment when the time it comes for you to make that play?
I pride myself on my preparation throughout the week about how I go about trying to study offenses and trying to, for a guy like me, the best way that I can make plays on Saturday is do my very best in studying out what they do as an offense so I can get out there on the field. I can process it quickly. I was like, okay, I see this formation. I know exactly what's coming. I see this cut split, whatever, this formation, far set, and I'm like, all right, this is the play. And then that's where my instincts take over and I can just go shoot and I can not think about it anymore. Once the ball snapped, I can just feel it out and know where it's going. So take pride in working hard throughout the week, doing my own film study and evaluations, just, really just trying to find keys and tendencies throughout the week that'll, just put me in better positions, and help me to make better plays. And once I see them out on the field, I just, I put all my chips in on number 11 and I go for it.
When did you know that football was the vehicle that you chose to get in to catapult you to whatever you wanted to do in life? Obviously, there's a life after football, but football is that vehicle. But when did you know that football was for you? We all have had that moment in high school or Pee Wee League where we came down to it. Like, when you got hit the first time, or you got ran over the first time, or it was something good where you had an interception. You was like, oh, I can do this. I can play this. And you saw the energy that your teammates gave you. There's so many different scenarios, but what was that moment for you?
Yeah, I mean it. I look back on my early career. This is before high school, in intermediate. I think it's around seventh, eighth grade. My dad tells this story often too, because the same situation happened with Alohi that, he kind of came to us and was like, "Hey, this is a situation. Do you want to go to college? Do you want to play Division I football?" I said, "Yes." He's like, "Okay, this is what you have to do." He's like, "Because I don't have the financial abilities to send you to college. Like we just don't got it like that. So you got to make it on your own." He's like, "I can help you with that, but you got to make that decision." So making that decision in that moment, when he looked at me back then, I was like, "Yes, this is what I want to do." He's like, "Okay, we got to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z, whatever it is, and follow the script, follow the blueprint, and everything will work out how it's supposed to." And I look back on that moment right there, and I'm like, man, my dad is a true, I don't know, he's just like a true mentor and a leader in that moment to put it out on the line and give me sort of the ultimatum. It's like, you don't have to do this. We're not forcing you to, but if you see a future in football, if you see that you are able to do this, able to play this game at a high level, and you want to play it at a high level in the Division I level, let's go for it. And I'm gonna help whatever it is that you need to do. So that's definitely the moment. I'm like, man, that's when everything changed. I stopped deciding to go hang out with friends instead and when it worked out instead with my dad and my brother and in those times, sometimes I was like, man, I wish I could just go hang out with my friends, as a kid. But I look back and I'm like, man, my dad taught me some amazing life lessons that, if you want to do some good things in life, it doesn't come easy. It's something you got to sacrifice and work for. So I'm grateful he did that.
Well, all those sacrifices definitely led to you being the number four recruit in the state of Hawaii, and it paid off clearly. Now, look, moving forward, turning the page from college football to the NFL, what have you seen from guys like Jonah Ellis, Devon Bailey, just guys that came from where you come from, the University of Utah, but plenty of guys from Stanford as well. But what have you seen from those guys who were once in your path and now you see them thriving in their rookie season?
Mhm. I mean, one thing about Utah football is that they produce NFL draftees. They put out guys in the league that stick and stick for a long time. And I think something that attributes to that is their football IQ. When you're at Utah, you learn a whole deal about football, and to be a plug and play player in the league, you have to know football for sure. You have to be able to understand it, process it quickly, and that's something I think I possess. So, kind of just trying to follow their tracks and do whatever I can possibly to make it like they are.
Just a couple more questions for you, man. I appreciate you so much for your time. What is an NFL GM, an NFL coach, getting in Mr. Gilman?
Man, I think the number one thing that pops out to me is sort of what I mentioned earlier. When you pair somebody who plays with amazing instincts, because instincts is something that you can't teach. You can't teach somebody to have instincts. They either got it or they don't. You pair that with somebody who has the highest IQ and can be the field general out there and literally can put the pieces of the puzzles together on the fly. You pair that high IQ with instincts, with the ability to process. I think a lot of people don't have that, which I do, where I can get on that field and I can see things clearly. It's like, okay, we got formation into the boundary. We got the tight end off here. It's a far set. We got a cut split from the receiver. He's inside the hash. Okay, I'm thinking fly sweep. Let me get more outside leverage so I can set the edge faster. Some like it literally happens like that quick, and you have 5 seconds to do so. So like, I feel like a GM can expect somebody who will get in there and make an impact right away based off of those aspects right there. We couple those things together. For me, I always bet on 11. I always bet on number 11. So I'm gonna put all my chips in there, and I'm gonna let it rip.
And you're training right now, you're in Texas. What are some of the things that you're picking up on right now? NFL Combine, great setting. You prepare for those lights. You played in big lights your whole college career. What are you taking from that moment, preparing for those moments?
I think I just when I'm out here every day and I wake up every morning to go train and be around these other guys, I'm grateful and blessed that I'm in that position because everyone's trying to make it for the same reasons. Everybody loves football. Everybody believes they're the best player on their team. Everybody believes they should be drafted. Everyone has the same mindset. So it's kind of an edge for me if I can get out there, maybe do a little bit more, maybe get a little bit more of this work in, or maybe try and, increase my IQ or something somehow. Like, I think it's just fun. Like, we're all out here for the same reasons, but everyone has that little drive where it's like, man, I think I'm better than this guy. Like, let me just do four more reps than him, Like, it's something that small, but we sit there all day and joke about it because it's like, man, I'm trying to get drafted before you kind of thing. So, um, I'm enjoying it. It's fun. It should be fun because it's the best time of our lives where we just get to focus on us and focus on football with no other distractions, and that's where my mind's headed.
Last question. How cool would it be to be in the backfield with Big Bro?
That's that would be a dream come true. We've always missed each other because he's 4 years older than me. So right when I came into high school, he was leaving, went to college. Right when I came to college, he got drafted, went to the pros and stuff. So it's like, man, if there were ever an opportunity where I could get out there and be on the same field or even opposite fields as my brother, that would be super cool and super awesome. And we talk about it all the time too. He's like, bro, if me and you were out there together, like it would be raps. Like the the mind connection that we have, obviously, because we're brothers, is second to none. And we hopefully that day comes. Who knows if it's in our cards for the future, but we're gonna continue to see where God takes us.
So would he be the free? Would you be the strong? Or you guys interchangeable? What we talking?
I mean, we're we're literally the same person. So what you see from him is what you see from me. So I don't think we would just play sides kind of thing and be like, yo, you roll down this play, I'll stay in the post, or let's do this, let's do that, without even like a lot of communication, just look at each other, point, throw up the shaka and be like, yup, I got you, bro. Boom, and get it done. Like backyard football type of stuff. And I think that'll be probably one of my biggest life achievements is having that happen if it does.
Well, man, I just want to thank you again for taking time out on Nard Knows, man. I definitely see bright lights in the head for you on and off the field, man. And the sky's the limit. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me, and I'm grateful to be here. Grateful to be here with you.